Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. Clement passed away last month. I first became familiar with Kim more than 20 years ago. If you don't know who he was, Kim was a very powerful performer, my friends, who was recently hospitalized with pneumonia and complications due to respiratory problems. His body became too weak to combat the illness, and after suffering from a brain bleed and other medical complications for more than a year, he left this earth last month and went home. Kim was 60 years old. Now, like I said, more than 20 years ago, I used to see him performing occasionally. I never really looked into what he was doing. He would perform as a musician and prophesy, and like I said, I never really looked into what he was doing, but I always felt something good about him. A voice of hope to those who needed it most. Clement was able to paint a picture of destiny that was an inspiration. And prior to the U.S. election last month, he pointed at Donald Trump as becoming the next president of the United States. I have a link for you to click in the Read More section beneath this video so you can watch that video for yourself. Now, there's more, my friends, about Donald Trump. Many are still insisting that he won't make it to the Oval Office, saying he'll be assassinated first, or Hillary is going to do something and wind up getting in herself, or even that Obama will do something to stay in. And to all that I say, just check back with me in less than 6 weeks so I can remind you about what I said last month. And that is, a year from now, you will be very happily surprised about Donald Trump for the positive things he winds up doing. He's in, my friends. If you're thinking he's not going to get in, get over it. He won. He'll be in. Now, also, there's a wonderful guy by the name of Trey who creates very unique, very powerful video presentations that if you've never seen what he does, you will certainly appreciate. Trey put an hour-long video together just 2 months ago titled Trump, the Coming Landslide. And of course, I have a link for you to click in the Read More section beneath this video. I encourage you to take the time to watch it. When you do, remember that it was made for viewing nearly 6 weeks before the presidential election results were in. In Trey's video, you'll see a number of men who prophesied well in advance, not only that Donald Trump would be the next president of the United States, but also that he would be a modern-day Cyrus. Now, that's a very interesting prophecy as it is, and coming from a number of different men from different parts of the earth makes it even more compelling. But the most exciting thing about that is, if Trump really does become a modern-day Cyrus, then that would mean he will help Israel to see their temple rebuilt. Please, let me stop you right there if you're thinking that makes Trump the Antichrist. No, there is nothing in Yahweh's word that says the Antichrist does that. And also, being a modern-day Cyrus would make Trump Yahweh's man, not Satan's minion. Look at Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 44, verse 28, where we see Abba Father Yahweh saying, "It is I who says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, my ruler, and he will carry out all that I desire, saying of Jerusalem, she shall again be built, and of the temple your foundation shall again be laid." Now, the prophecy there about the temple being rebuilt was written by Isaiah long before the temple was even destroyed. And the full prophecy about Cyrus, seen in chapter 45, was written well over 100 years before Cyrus was even born. Can you imagine being born 100, 150 years after the book of Isaiah was written, and somebody says, "Hey, Cyrus, did you know you're in this one?" Anyway, I'm excited about this, my friends, because if Trump truly does become a modern-day Cyrus and helps Israel to rebuild the temple, well, that's just one more oath, one more sign that Yeshua is coming to take us home in the great kidnapping. That is the Netchatef. Yallah, Yeshua. One more little thing. This, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get some light on it. This is handmade pieces of a clock and put into a frame. I don't know, it looks like maybe he poured plexiglass over all these parts. Kind of like, a sailing ship and some springs in there looking like waves. This is from Rainer in Austria. He just sent this to me in the mail this week. Thank you, Rainer. I think it's beautiful. I think it's precious, and I appreciate you sending me a piece of your artwork. Turning to wars and rumors of wars. On Tuesday, December 6th, from Reuters, Iraqi army units surged toward the center of Mosul in an attack from the city's southeastern edges that could give fresh impetus to the battle for the ISIS stronghold in Iraq. Troops entered Salam Hospital, less than a mile from the Tigris River running through the city center. On Wednesday, December 7th, from Jerusalem Post, Hezbollah accused Israel of striking the Mezeh Air Force Base near Damascus. I'm talking Isaiah chapter 17. Early Wednesday, causing large explosions. This is the second report of Israeli strikes against targets in Syria in 2 weeks. Damascus. The IDF has neither confirmed nor denied the reports, as is their policy regarding foreign reports on purported Israeli strikes. However, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said last April, quote, "We will not agree to the supply of advanced weaponry to Hezbollah from Syria and Lebanon," close quote. I think that says enough in itself. And from Ynet News, the report that Israel attacked a military air base in western Damascus was unusual due to the claim that Israel launched surface-to-surface missiles rather than air-to-surface missiles, as was done in the past. The strike was likely the result of an Iranian attempt to transfer missiles to Hezbollah. If Israel did in fact use surface-to-surface missiles, it's reasonable to assume that it had a good reason, like a desire to surprise the Syrians and Hezbollah, Iran. Had Israel launched planes to carry out the mission, the sensitive, long-range radars which the Russians brought to Syria would have been able to detect their presence, and the Russians would have warned the Syrians. On Sunday, December 11th, from Reuters, more than 4,000 ISIS militants have regrouped and launched a second attack on Palmyra to try to recapture the ancient city. Despite heavy losses in manpower and equipment, the terrorists are trying as hard as possible to secure a foothold inside the city, while Syrian troops are fighting to defend Palmyra. Turning to our Intifada update on Tuesday, December 6th, from Ynet News, the IDF thwarted a Molotov cocktail attack on Highway 60 south of Bethlehem. The area is a well-known spot for Molotov cocktail throwers, and 10 other suspects were arrested throughout the West Bank on terror offenses. From AFP and I-24 News, a police officer and a Salafist man were hospitalized after Hamas forces clashed with Islamists in Gaza. Both were shot during an attempt by Gaza security forces to arrest 2 men from a Salafist group in Al-Fukhari. Then on Thursday, December 8th, from Times of Israel, an 18-year-old Palestinian boy attempted to stab Israeli guards at Tapua Junction, the site of multiple stabbing and car ramming attacks in the West Bank. He was shot and killed. Then from Ynet News, a 7-man Hamas terror cell in the West Bank that was planning to carry out a shooting and kidnapping attack against IDF soldiers was arrested. Weapons found in the investigation included 2 Kalashnikov rifles, 3 handguns, a hunting rifle, and an M16 rifle. And 8 Arabs from eastern Jerusalem were arrested for being part of a terrorist cell that was planning shooting attacks in the capital as well as at an IDF base. Among them were Hamas operatives. And turning to our review of last week's news, Iraqi army units surged toward the center of Mosul in an attack that could give fresh impetus to the battle for the ISIS stronghold in Iraq. Hezbollah accused Israel of striking the Mazeh Air Force Base near Damascus. The IDF thwarted a Molotov cocktail attack on Highway 60 south of Bethlehem. A police officer and a Salafist man were hospitalized after Hamas forces clashed with Islamists in Gaza. An 18-year-old Palestinian boy attempted to stab Israeli guards at Tapua Junction. A 7-man Hamas terror cell in the West Bank that was planning to carry out a shooting and kidnapping attack against IDF soldiers was arrested. And 8 Arabs from eastern Jerusalem were arrested for being part of a terrorist cell that was planning shooting attacks in the capital as well as at an IDF base. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because because we matter.